You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people. Welcome to Straight Outta Conte post-Chelsea edition. I'm here alone today. Unfortunately, I brought it to work. So wanted to get it done, wanted to have a quick chat about what Conte had to say post. Was one of the funnest games, but one of the most stressful games to watch in a long time. Tune in tonight for Tottenham Talks when we discuss the game itself. But for now, we're going to get into just what Conte said post-game, because obviously this game full of a lot of different things and pretty nutty stuff that had happened on and off the pitch. And Conte had little to say about it, which I guess is I'm not surprised by. You know, he's often quite quiet when it comes to calling out refs and stuff, which we'll get into. So let's just get into the bits here. So first question: can you give us a version of events after that first whistle? Conte says, "I think that it's not so important. It's not so important. The most important thing is always football and to speak about the game. It was an intensive game. For us, this game is really tough, but you know very well that to come here and to play Chelsea away is always difficult. They have a really good team. But at the same time, I have to compare last season, and maybe 6 months ago, we played 3 games without playing because the superiority was very clear. Today, I have to be honest, because today in this game, Chelsea showed to be better than us. We can do better, but at the same time, we scored twice. In the last 3 games, we didn't score. We got a point, and we showed, in my opinion, character, personality, because my players wanted to stay in the game until the end. But for sure, my players know very well that what is my idea. We have to continue to work and to improve, because I think with the ball, we could do better." And again, I think just to get to sort of his deflection here, not wanting to talk about what happened post-game, really just focusing on the football, recognizing that, of course, it's a passionate game. Those things happen after the whistle, particularly in a game of this intensity with the build-up that was sort of presented before it in the media and everybody else talking about it on the socials and the madness of it all. I think an interesting thing here, he's talking about where we were last season against Chelsea. We lost them 4 times, I think, in the span of a month and a half without scoring. And the character is something to be excited about here, despite us not having a very good performance. Let's be honest, not having a good performance at all. But what Conte was able to do is galvanize the team. And I think he made a really good decision with his tactics. And those tactics specifically got us back in the game. And, I think he's talking about what we need to do more ball, and I think that was relatively obvious that Chelsea with the ball were very clinical. Their passing was very tight, very sharp, whereas we were giving the ball away. We didn't have control of the midfield the way we needed to, and I think he's pointing that out in this case, just saying we need to be better with the ball. We need to be able to control the game, hold the ball, and pass it around as well as they did. Yeah. Whew. All right, so next question was, both coaches were shown a red card. Do you believe you did anything to deserve a red card? Conte's response is, but honestly, the referee showed me a red card, but he didn't understand the dynamic of what happened. But it's okay. I have to accept it. But I repeat, this is not a big problem. It's not important. The problem is between me and the other coach, not for the others. And I think what he doesn't recognize is what Tuchel did specifically to trigger this scenario, which was, and I think most of us saw it, was holding onto his hand longer than Conte expected and yanking towards him and pointing in his eyes. And this goes to the next question, essentially. What was Thomas Tuchel, the aggressor at full time? His response, but honestly, I don't want to come back again, but for sure, there's a video to understand what happened. For sure, I'm not passive. If I see aggressivity, then my answer is with aggressivity. But I repeat, this is not a problem. The most important thing is the game. It was a great game with 2 teams where there's a big rivalry. For us to get a point was really important. In my opinion, they continue to stay up on us. But before the press conference, I say this season, we were better than last season. I think we showed this only in the difficulty that we were a tough opponent for many reasons. Yeah, again, deflecting who did what at the end of the game. There's video of everything. He's not gonna say I didn't do anything wrong, because of course He'd get in his face a couple of times, but it was an intense response. It was an intense moment, an intense game, an intense result, particularly the way it ended, which of course is going to be Tuchel's sort of why he was so upset about what had happened. But what I think he's pointing out here towards the end of this is that, this is a better result than last season. We responded with character despite being down and not playing well, and still managing to get a result, managing to score 2 goals, managing to score in the 96th minute to get that result, which I thought was incredibly impressive despite being really poor. He complained about the referee. What did you make of him? You know very well, I never spoke about the referee's decision. Never and never. I continue to do this. When I see others have this type of behavior, it makes me a bit angry, but at the same time, everyone tries to do what they want. You understand. I don't want to comment here on the referee, but I never make a comment about the referee in England. I love this. This is, for me, from a Conte perspective, how he functions. He's not blaming. He's never going to blame anything on a referee, despite some of the calls. Obviously, there's some questionable calls there, going both directions, though, and we need to be honest about that. And if we're gonna analyze everything in slow motion or still images, saying this was a tackle, this wasn't a tackle, this should be a yellow, this should, there was a lot of things that the referee on both sides got wrong. And I just thought the refereeing across the board was poor in this game. And maybe we got lucky in that we got a little bit over the right green in those decisions. But that isn't always going to be the case. I just think that Conte deals with this in the right way. He's not about the referee. It's football. You're going to get some, you're going to lose some, win some, lose some, move on. I would rather talk about the football match. Appreciate that. I think that's the professional right way to do it. When you see the likes of Klopp and Pep, laying into the refs and getting away with it, it's really the upper echelon managers that can get away with it. And Conte could if he wanted to get away with it, but he's not that type of guy. And I appreciate that about him. Next question. Can you tell us about your celebration because it seemed to upset Tuchel? I think the celebrations involved on both sides were really good celebrations. Yes, the run, then the jump, and you can understand about the celebrations because the feeling about us and Chelsea for this game. I think this game is an important game for both clubs. For sure, for me, it was important because to lose 3 games in a row against the same coach, I don't like. I hate to lose, and you know very well I try to transfer my mentality, my passion into my players because you can be good tactically, technically, but then you need good blood in your vein to fight for something important. I think I've started a process in this aspect, and today I'm happy because my players wanted to stay in the game despite the difficulty of the game. Yeah, this is important. This is again goes to his mentality, goes to what he's doing for the team, his ability to change the way this team is thinking. We still, you could tell, had that nervousness about playing a team like Chelsea, and then clearly when they took over the game and started to control it, we didn't respond very well. But eventually, when Conte made those changes, very good changes, the passion came out, the passion from him on the sidelines, getting involved. It gets all of the players involved. One of the best things that probably could have happened was that intensity on the sidelines because it brought us into the game for the last 15 minutes of it. And those 2 goals, arguably, despite some of the questions on the referee's calls or not, the Højbjerg goal for me is good. Maybe there's an offside, maybe there isn't. You could call it one way or the other. It's not really something to be too worried about. And of course, the stuff leading up to the second goal, we can talk about that forever. But bottom line here is this team showed his heart, what he's talking about here, and what he wants to fight for in his veins. The team showed it. And this is not something he had seen before, I don't think, at this level, especially against a team like Chelsea, a rivalry like this away from home at Stamford Bridge. So spot on from him, and I love what he said here. Are the players now showing the same passion as you, and do you like that? And this goes to the same thing I was just saying. Yeah, but you have to show every time passion because the result can be positive or negative. But I think the passion is very important. Every job that people do, you have to love your job and you have to love your work and to show your passion. If the people understand this and the fans see it as good, it's good. And you can take a big achievement if you have big passion in your job. Next, it's about passion. It's obvious, why it's important to have passion about what it is that you do because it's going to result in better performances. And I think he's just going to try to keep pushing his team, his players to get there. And he's recognizing as he sees something like this, there's a long way to go, but the right stuff is getting put in place, and we're starting to see some of the players respond to it, especially some of the ones off the bench, which we'll get to later in our review later this evening. Thomas said he enjoyed the handshake. Do you enjoy those moments? To enjoy, I think what happened, we did enjoy, but next time we will pay more attention and don't shake the hands, and we solved the problem, which he tried to do. He tried to walk away from it, and Tuchel held him and dragged him in, and made something out of it that didn't need to be. He stays on my bench. I stay on my bench with my staff on one side, and no problem about this. It would be a pity if this situation, if for this situation we miss the next game. Yeah, and I think that's it, right? Like that's kind of the thing that's frustrating, is that I don't think either of them deserved a red card in this, and I think they both got straights for this. To miss both games. I mean, despite me thinking Tuchel, I think, was at fault for it, I don't think either of them did anything more than what we'd seen other players do on the pitch and not get a card at all and just be separated. Like this was just passion. This was just build up from a game that we all knew was gonna be fiery, and it lived up to that. So yeah, you enjoy the handshake, sure, and then move on, but it was unnecessary to go where it did, and I don't think red cards were useful. Last question was, can you tell us what happened with Kovacic's confrontation at the end before you went into the tunnel? Conte's response, no, I think this is not important. It can happen when passion is high on both sides. The celebration was very clear what this game means for the two clubs, maybe also for the two managers. Again, it's speaking to what we already know about the situation. It's a very intense game, passionate game, and I like this response. He's keeping it simple. He's keeping it from getting out of control, from it being too much about what happened, and more about what can the players do and what can Tottenham do to improve as a club, coming up against teams like this in difficult grounds. So, and especially this one, because clearly we've had many issues. Anyway, that's it for Straight Outta Conte. Sorry for Brian not being here today. Hope you enjoyed this. We will be back tonight with Tottenham Talks. I've got Ryan, I've got Ben, and I've got Amir on with me. We're going to chat about this game. We're going to break it down a little bit more and have discussion. Hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.
You're now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.